In a world where interpersonal relationships are as complex as they are vital, the ability to recognize psychological manipulation can be the key to protecting yourself and your well-being. Did you know that nearly 86% of people may unknowingly experience psychological manipulation in their daily lives? This staggering statistic underscores the importance of understanding the tactical nuances of terms like gaslighting and guilt tripping. Both strategies can erode self-trust and create confusion, yet they are often mistakenly used interchangeably. This book takes you on a journey to illuminate these distinctions and empower your awareness. The core theme of our exploration centers on how psychological tactics shape human behavior and the subtle ways they infiltrate our interactions. By unraveling the differences between similar terms, you will gain crucial insights into your emotional landscape and the manipulative forces that may lurk within your relationships. Throughout this book, you can expect to encounter deep insights, relatable real-world examples, and effective strategies to distinguish between these psychological terms. Each chapter is designed to not only broaden your understanding, but also equip you with practical tools to recognize and defend yourself against manipulative behaviors. As you delve deeper, you will find that this knowledge fosters self-awareness, resilience, and the ability to reclaim your narrative. Welcome to a transformative exploration where clarity becomes your guide and psychological prowess becomes your protective shield. Join us as we navigate through these crucial topics, empowering you to foster healthier connections and cultivate a stronger sense of self. Gaslighting versus guilt tripping, hidden in plain sight. Compiled and published by Cloaked Psyche. Chapter 1. Gaslighting and Guilt Tripping. Spot the difference. Imagine you have a close friend who consistently seems to twist your words, leaving you questioning your own memories and feelings. You might say, "I felt hurt when you didn't invite me to your birthday party," and they reply, "You're being overly sensitive. I told you it was a small gathering." You leave the encounter feeling confused and unsure, doubting whether your feelings are valid. This scenario might reflect a common experience where two psychological tactics converge, creating a web of confusion, gaslighting, and guilt tripping. Many people struggle to distinguish these concepts, often mistaking one for the other. But understanding their differences is crucial for fostering healthier relationships and protecting your self-esteem. Gaslighting, defined simply, is a manipulative tactic used to make someone question their own perceptions or reality. Its name derives from the 1938 play Gaslight, in which a husband dims the gaslights in their home, insisting that his wife is imagining things. This tactic can manifest in various environments, from personal relationships to workplaces. In a romantic setting, a partner may insist that certain events never happened or that your responses to them are irrational. This constant undermining chips away at your confidence, leaving you to feel unsure of your grasp on reality. In a corporate context, an employee might be told their concerns about unethical practices are the result of an overactive imagination, further eroding their sense of self-trust and validity. Consider a scenario in a workplace where an employee notices discrepancies in reports. When they bring it up, their supervisor dismisses them, saying, "You're just misunderstanding our processes." This kind of response can lead the employee to second-guess their insights, feeling inadequate and insecure about their judgment. Over time, the repeated invalidation can cause serious emotional distress and foster a culture where manipulation thrives, making it difficult for individuals to express concerns or address their discomfort. Gaslighting becomes particularly damaging because it creates a cycle of confusion and self-doubt, making it almost impossible for individuals to recognize that manipulation is occurring. Those who gaslight are often skilled at painting themselves as reasonable, while portraying their victims as irrational or overly emotional. This dynamic can isolate victims from their support systems, leaving them feeling trapped in their circumstances. It is essential to recognize these patterns, as only then can one begin to understand the manipulative tactics at play and ultimately take steps toward reclaiming one's sense of reality. As we progress through this chapter, Keep in mind the importance of self-reflection and awareness in your own relationships. Engaging with these concepts and recognizing them in your life can serve as a powerful shield against manipulation. If you find this exploration helpful, remember to subscribe to my channel, Cloak Psyche, where we delve deeper into the intricate world of psychological manipulation and how to protect yourself from it. Knowledge is your best ally in navigating these complex interactions. So let's continue this enlightening journey together. As we dive deeper into understanding psychological tactics, it's crucial to turn our attention to guilt tripping, a concept that, while it may seem similar to gaslighting, operates through different mechanisms and has its unique implications. Guilt tripping occurs when someone uses guilt as a means of manipulation, compelling another person to act in a way that serves the manipulator's interests. Picture a scenario where a parent tells their adult child, "After everything I've sacrificed for you, you can't take a little time to help me with this?" Here, the parent utilizes guilt to persuade the child to prioritize their needs over their own, creating an emotional obligation that can be difficult to resist. In contrast to gaslighting, where the goal is to distort reality and instill doubt about one's perceptions, guilt tripping directly appeals to emotions, tapping into feelings of remorse and obligation. This tactic can be observed in various settings, such as friendships, workplaces, and even community interactions. For example, in a professional environment, a colleague might say, "I really need your help with this project. Everyone is relying on you," subtly suggesting that failure to assist would reflect poorly on the other person. This approach can create anxiety and pressure, causing individuals to overcommit out of guilt rather than genuine willingness. Now that we have defined guilt tripping, it's essential to pinpoint the key differences between it and gaslighting. While both tactics manipulate, their methods and effects diverge significantly. Gaslighting seeks to confuse by altering or denying reality, whereas guilt tripping works by compelling individuals to conform to expectations through emotional pressure. A helpful analogy might be to think of gaslighting as navigating a foggy path where everything appears distorted and confusing, while guilt tripping resembles standing at a crossroads where emotional pleas create a compelling yet burdensome tug towards one direction. Recognizing these distinctions can help clarify confusion when encountering these tactics in real life. To better safeguard yourself from both gaslighting and guilt tripping, it's crucial to practice self-awareness and develop strategies for defense. Start by cultivating a habit of internal reflection. When faced with a challenging situation, pause to assess your feelings and thoughts without immediately succumbing to emotional pressure. Ask yourself, am I responding out of genuine desire, or am I feeling compelled by guilt or confusion? Building these reflective muscles can empower you to recognize when someone's attempts at manipulation are taking root in your emotional landscape. Additionally, establishing firm boundaries can serve as a protective barrier against these tactics. Learn to assert your needs, politely but firmly, stating when you are unable to meet someone else's requests. Remember that it is perfectly acceptable to prioritize your mental health, and doing so maintains mutual respect within your relationships. As you navigate the complexities of human interactions, keep reminding yourself that your feelings and perceptions are valid, and trust your instincts in situations that evoke doubt. In closing, as you continue your journey toward greater understanding and emotional resilience, remember to subscribe to my channel, Cloaked Psyche, where we explore these themes further, arming you with the knowledge and tools needed to navigate the often murky waters of psychological manipulation. By engaging with these concepts and committing to your growth, you pave the way for healthier, more authentic relationships rooted in trust and self-awareness. Chapter 2. Manipulation Tactics. How they control you. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where someone skillfully twisting words made you question your own judgment? Perhaps a colleague insisted you were the one at fault for a mistake that you clearly didn't make, leaving you feeling uneasy and defensive. This is a telling example of manipulation, a phenomenon that can infiltrate our relationships and everyday interactions, often without our conscious awareness. Manipulation can take many forms, yet the underlying intent remains the same: to control, influence, or steer someone toward a desired outcome. Understanding these tactics and their effects is essential for personal empowerment and emotional clarity. At its core, manipulation is a deliberate strategy employed by individuals to exploit others for personal gain. This often occurs in subtle, insidious ways, making it challenging to identify until one becomes entrenched in a confused emotional state. For instance, consider the scenario in a romantic relationship where one partner may frequently prioritize their needs while dismissing their partner's concerns. A classic example is the phrase, "I'm really upset about this situation, but it's not that big of a deal. You should just let it go." This minimizes the other's feelings and pressures them to abandon their emotional needs in favor of maintaining peace. The manipulator may project vulnerability, prompting feelings of guilt and forcing the other person to appease them. Manipulation can also manifest in professional settings, where a manager may employ tactics to maintain control over their team. For example, instead of addressing poor performance directly, they may feign disappointment in order to prompt workers to overextend themselves in order to regain approval. This tactic leaves employees feeling anxious and unsure of their footing, often leading them to question their competence. Moreover, manipulative behavior can foster toxic work environments where individuals operate in a constant state of fear and competition rather than collaboration and support. Social settings are not immune to these tactics either. Think about a friend who subtly undermines your achievements with offhand comments like, "That's nice, but didn't I do something similar last year?" Such remarks create an atmosphere of comparison and self-doubt, manipulating your reality while elevating the other's self-image. It's important to be aware of how these tactics function, as they thrive in relationships built on emotional connections where trust and vulnerability are present. As we explore manipulation further, it is vital to recognize that while it can be hard to confront, acknowledging its presence in your life is the first step toward reclaiming your narrative. Understanding the various patterns and motivations behind manipulation can empower you to identify and counteract these controlling behaviors. Becoming aware of manipulation allows you to ask yourself crucial questions. How do these interactions make you feel? Are your emotions being dismissed or minimized? By consciously evaluating these situations, you equip yourself to respond rather than react. Additionally, creating a habit of documenting your feelings and experiences can serve as a valuable tool for clarifying your thoughts and discerning when manipulation might be at play. As you reflect on these insights, remember that knowledge is your ally. If this discussion resonates with you, I encourage you to subscribe to my channel, Cloaked Psyche, where we delve deeper into recognizing and combating manipulation. The journey toward understanding these complex tactics can lead to greater personal empowerment and healthier interactions with those around you. As we shift our focus to the contrasting concept of manipulation, it's essential to recognize the complexities inherent in these tactics. While gaslighting seeks to distort reality and create doubt, manipulation often operates more directly, playing on emotional triggers to influence behavior. For instance, manipulation can manifest through appeals to sympathy or fear. Imagine a close friend saying, "If you really cared about our friendship, you would help me with this problem," which directly exploits the emotional connection you share, eliciting feelings of guilt and obligation. This differs significantly from gaslighting, where the intent is shrouded in confusion and misdirection, making it challenging to trust one's own perceptions. To further illustrate the differences, consider a scenario where a coworker consistently avoids taking responsibility for their shortcomings. When confronted, they might say, "I had to take care of my sick child, so you can't expect me to perform at my best." Here, instead of distorting reality, they're using emotional context to manipulate expectations. While gaslighting could involve suggesting that the issue at hand never existed in the first place, this tactic highlights how manipulation uses the present emotions of others to alter their behavior or judgments. Such a distinction is crucial, as recognizing it may help one understand not only the encountered tactics, but also the underlying motivations behind them. While both tactics are forms of manipulation, the nuances of how they affect individuals can vary sharply. Gaslighting operates on the premise of confusion, creating a mental fog that can leave victims questioning their grasp of reality. Manipulation, however, tends to create a more tangible, albeit uncomfortable pressure to conform. One could liken these tactics to different types of weather. Gaslighting feels like walking in a dense fog where visibility is low and the atmosphere disorienting, while manipulation resembles a storm cloud looming overhead, threatening to pour guilt and obligation if you don't act as expected. To protect yourself from these psychological tactics, the first step is to develop awareness and discernment. Acknowledging that manipulation exists in your relationships is crucial for establishing boundaries that safeguard your emotional health. Reflect on your interactions. Do they leave you feeling drained or obligated to others? Self-reflection is a powerful tool for identifying patterns of manipulation. Ask yourself how a conversation affects your state of mind. Are you left feeling guilty or confused? Recognizing these feelings allows you to pause and evaluate the situation. Another strategy is to practice assertiveness. When faced with attempts at manipulation, confidently state your position and prioritize your own needs. For instance, responding to a guilt-inducing statement with, "I understand you need help, but I must focus on my own commitments first," establishes clear boundaries without dismissing the other person's feelings. This approach empowers you and communicates that your needs are equally valid. As you navigate these dynamics in your life, remember that education is a protective shield against manipulation. If this exploration of tactics resonates with you, I invite you to subscribe to my channel, Cloaked Psyche. By arming yourself with knowledge, you can enhance your emotional resilience and ultimately foster healthier, more balanced relationships, free from the shadows of manipulation. Embrace this journey as an opportunity for growth, understanding, and empowerment in your everyday interactions. Chapter 3. Twisting Reality, the Art of Gaslighting. Imagine sitting across from a friend in a heated discussion, trying to express your feelings about an incident that hurt you. You say, "I felt ignored when you didn't respond to my texts." To your shock, they respond with, "I always respond to your texts. You must be forgetting things again." Instantly, a sense of confusion washes over you. Was it truly a misunderstanding, or is something more insidious at play? This scenario highlights a common experience of gaslighting, a psychological manipulation that distorts reality and creates uncertainty about one's perceptions. Understanding this tactic is crucial as it often goes unnoticed, allowing it to seep into relationships and environments, leaving individuals questioning their own sense of self. Gaslighting is defined as a systematic attempt to undermine an individual's reality or perceptions. It often occurs in subtle ways, leading the victim to doubt their perceptions, memories, and even their sanity. The term originated from the play Gaslight, where a husband manipulates his wife into thinking she is losing her mind by dimming the gaslights and then denying it when she acknowledges the change. In personal relationships, gaslighting can be devastating. A partner may insist that a disagreement never occurred, or they'll ridicule your feelings, leaving you feeling isolated. Over time, this cognitive dissonance can evolve into a complete breakdown of self-worth and trust in one's own judgment. In workplace dynamics, gaslighting manifests similarly, though often under the guise of professionalism. Consider a situation where an employee is given ambiguous feedback on their performance, followed by dismissive comments like, "You're too sensitive. I didn't mean it that way." Such tactics can create an environment of fear and uncertainty, stifling creativity and honest communication. Employees and colleagues may begin to second-guess their abilities, holding back from sharing their thoughts for fear of rebuke. Gaslighting, in this context, may foster a toxic work culture where manipulation thrives and productivity declines as individuals wrestle with distorted realities. Social settings are not immune either, where peers may use gaslighting to maintain social hierarchies, often under the guise of humor or camaraderie. For example, if someone receives a compliment for their achievements, a friend might jokingly say, "You really think you deserve that praise? You had help from all of us." While it may sound lighthearted at first, such remarks can cause the individual to feel belittled, leading them to question their accomplishments and, ultimately, their self-worth. One of the most alarming aspects of gaslighting is its gradual nature. It often starts with seemingly benign dismissals of a person's feelings, but over time, it escalates to profound confusion and emotional turmoil. The victim may experience feelings of anxiety, depression, and isolation, making it increasingly difficult to free oneself from the grasp of such manipulation. In recognizing gaslighting in your own life, it becomes essential to cultivate a sense of self-awareness and intuition. Begin by documenting instances where you feel your reality is being challenged or dismissed. Writing these encounters down can help clarify your experiences and affirm your emotional truth. If you find yourself questioning your perceptions after conversations, remember that your feelings are valid and should not be brushed aside. If you resonate with this exploration into the nature of gaslighting, I encourage you to subscribe to my channel, Cloaked Psyche, where we further dissect these themes. Understanding gaslighting serves as an important step toward reclaiming your narrative and fostering healthier, more authentic relationships as you navigate the complexities of human interactions. Embrace this knowledge as a vital tool for self-protection and emotional clarity as we continue this journey together. As we turn to another significant aspect of psychological manipulation, it's vital to explore how gaslighting and its counterpart, emotional manipulation, differ in approach and impact. Emotional manipulation often involves using someone's feelings against them to achieve a desired outcome, which can be starkly different from gaslighting's focus on distorting reality. For example, consider a scenario where a partner consistently raises past mistakes to influence their significant other's decisions by saying, "Remember how you let me down last time? I can't trust you to make the right choice now." They are emotionally manipulating their partner into compliance through fear and guilt. In contrast, gaslighting would manifest as the partner denying the past event altogether, leaving the other person confused about what really happened. While both tactics involve manipulation, they operate on distinct levels. Emotional manipulation tends to be more straightforward, playing directly on the victim's feelings of guilt or fear, while gaslighting creates a fog of self-doubt and confusion. To further illustrate, think of emotional manipulation as being in a room with dim lights, where someone keeps flashing a bright light into your eyes, momentarily blinding you, yet you can still see the walls and the furniture around you. This experience is frustrating and unsettling, but you can still grasp your immediate surroundings. On the other hand, gaslighting resembles being placed in a maze with shifting walls, where you begin to question the very structure around you. Over time, this can lead to feeling lost and unsure if you will ever find your way out. Recognizing these differences is vital for safeguarding yourself against both tactics. One common misconception is that emotional manipulation is less harmful than gaslighting. However, the emotional scars left by guilt or fear can run just as deep and affect one's self-esteem and mental well-being. Both tactics can drain your energy, erode self-worth, and create emotional dependency, making it essential to recognize them. To apply this understanding practically in daily life, begin by enhancing your emotional awareness. Take time to reflect on your interactions and the feelings they evoke within you. Ask yourself questions like, "Do I feel pressured or guilty after this conversation?" Write down instances where you felt manipulated, whether it was through guilt, fear, or confusion. This practice of journaling can help you clarify your thoughts, validate your emotions, and identify patterns in how you respond to manipulation. Additionally, cultivating assertiveness helps counter these tactics. When you sense that someone is trying to manipulate you emotionally, practice asserting your boundaries effectively. You can say, "I understand you're upset, but I am not responsible for your feelings," which helps you reclaim your power in the conversation. Establishing strong boundaries not only protects your emotional space, but also communicates that you value your mental health. Remember to trust your instincts. If something feels off in a conversation or interaction, it likely is, and acknowledging that feeling is the first step toward self-protection. As we continue exploring these psychological concepts, I encourage you to subscribe to my channel, Cloaked Psyche, where we can further dissect these manipulative techniques. Gaining knowledge about these tactics empowers you to build healthier, more genuine relationships, enabling you to navigate life with confidence and clarity. By equipping yourself with these insights, you fortify your emotional resilience in a world filled with complexities and challenges. Chapter 4: Emotional Leverage: How Guilt Tripping Works. Have you ever felt a pang of guilt after saying no to a friend who insisted they needed your help? Imagine this scenario. A friend comes to you in distress, pleading, "I really need you right now. I wouldn't ask if it wasn't important." As you listen, your heartstrings tug, and suddenly your plans feel trivial compared to their urgent need. This moment encapsulates the essence of guilt tripping, a psychological tactic that relies on emotional pressure to manipulate others into compliance. Understanding this tactic is vital, as it can often lead to feelings of obligation and resentment, complicating the dynamics of relationships. Guilt tripping, at its core, is an emotional manipulation strategy that involves inducing feelings of guilt in others to achieve a specific outcome. It occurs when someone leverages an emotional response to bend you to their will. For instance, consider a family member who frequently brings up sacrifices they have made for you, saying things like, "After all I've done for you, it would mean so much if you helped me out." By framing their request in this manner, they not only evoke guilt but also create a sense of debt, making it difficult for you to refuse without feeling selfish. This dynamic can establish an ongoing pattern where your emotions are used as a leverage point, undermining genuine choice and fostering resentment. Guilt tripping can manifest in various aspects of life, including personal relationships, professional environments, and social circles. In the context of romantic partnerships, one partner may assert, "You say you care about me, but if that were true, you would prioritize my needs over your own." This creates an illusion of love intertwined with emotional coercion, where one's needs overshadow the others, leading to an unbalanced dynamic. In workplaces, a manager might say, "The team is relying on everyone to put in extra hours. We need to show our commitment," using implicit pressure to manipulate employees into overworking without adequate compensation. These examples showcase how guilt tripping effectively alters perceptions and distorts boundaries, making individuals feel responsible for others' emotions. Understanding the full impact of guilt tripping is crucial for recognizing its presence in your own life. It can create an environment of emotional obligation where decisions are made out of fear of disappointing others rather than what truly feels right for you. Over time, this tactic can lead to a pattern of unhealthy relationships built on avoidance and resentment. When you constantly comply with others' demands out of guilt, you may lose sight of your own desires and needs, eventually leading to burnout or emotional detachment. To protect yourself from the power of guilt tripping, begin by cultivating self-awareness. Reflect on your interactions and note moments where you feel strong emotional pressure. Ask yourself if you're making decisions based on genuine desire or out of a fear of disappointing someone. Keep a journal to document these experiences, allowing you to recognize patterns of guilt being used against you. Additionally, practice assertiveness by setting clear boundaries when faced with guilt-tripping tactics. It's important to remember that your emotional well-being should not be sacrificed for others' demands. You can respond with statements like, "I appreciate your feelings, but I must prioritize my own needs at this time." By asserting your boundaries, you communicate that your feelings are valid and should be respected. If this exploration of guilt tripping resonates with you, I encourage you to subscribe to my channel, Cloaked Psyche, where we delve deeper into understanding emotional manipulation in our lives. By developing a stronger awareness of these dynamics, you empower yourself to navigate relationships with clarity and confidence, fostering healthier connections and emotional balance. As we continue exploring psychological tactics, it's essential to differentiate emotional leverage through guilt tripping from another common form of manipulation: emotional blackmail. While both tactics can exert significant pressure on individuals, the methods and context in which they operate reveal important distinctions. Emotional blackmail is characterized by an explicit threat or a strong ultimatum, leaving little room for choice. For instance, consider a partner who states, "If you don't attend my family event, I'll be deeply disappointed and might reconsider our future together. This form of manipulation is overt and utilizes the possibility of loss or abandonment as leverage, fundamentally different from the subtler approach of guilt tripping, which primarily focuses on inducing feelings of guilt without direct threats. To illustrate this further, think about a scenario where a colleague consistently uses guilt to sway you into covering for them at work. When you express reluctance, they might say, "I've always been there for you. You owe me this." Here, the pressure is rooted in emotional obligation without an outright threat. In contrast, emotional blackmail would involve a comment like, "If you don't help me, I'll have to tell the boss you're not a team player," jeopardizing your position. The stark difference lies in the explicit threat that demands immediate compliance, whereas guilt tripping relies on emotional guilt and societal expectations to influence behavior. Recognizing the differences between these tactics is crucial for navigating social dynamics and enhancing personal resilience. A common misconception is that emotional blackmail can only exist in intense relationships, but it can manifest in various settings, from friendships to workplace dynamics. Both tactics serve the same purpose: to manipulate and gain control over another's actions. However, the intent behind emotional blackmail often feels more aggressive and threatening, whereas guilt tripping may disguise itself as a plea for connection or support. To protect yourself from both guilt tripping and emotional blackmail, self-awareness is key. Begin by identifying situations where you feel pressured to comply with someone else's demands and determine whether their approach is rooted in guilt or an explicit threat. Practicing mindfulness can help you develop a clearer understanding of your emotions, making it easier to recognize when you are being manipulated. Additional strategies include setting boundaries and being assertive in your interactions. If someone attempts to guilt you into providing help, don't hesitate to communicate your own needs. You might say, "I hear your concerns, but I need to focus on my own responsibilities right now." Should the conversation take a turn toward emotional blackmail, it's imperative to remain calm and evaluate the implications of the threat. This may involve seeking third-party perspectives from friends or colleagues to gain clarity on your feelings and the appropriateness of the behavior. One reflective exercise to consider is journaling your experiences after you felt pressure from others. Document how you felt, including any emotional responses or thoughts that arose during the interaction. This practice not only fosters self-awareness, but also helps you internalize the recognition of manipulation tactics, allowing you to respond more consciously in the future. As you journey through understanding these emotional maneuvers, I encourage you to subscribe to my channel, Cloaked Psyche, where we delve into the intricacies of emotional dynamics in relationships, equipping you with knowledge to protect your well-being. By enhancing your understanding of these strategies, you not only bolster your emotional resilience, but also lay the groundwork for healthier, more balanced relationships founded on mutual respect and genuine care. Chapter 5: Confusion versus Obligation, Two Psychological Traps. Imagine you're in a meeting at work, surrounded by colleagues discussing a project. As the conversation unfolds, one team member suddenly shifts the focus, saying, "If you truly cared about this team and our goals, you would volunteer for this additional workload." In that moment, you feel a mix of confusion and guilt, grappling with the expectation to step up, even when your plate is already full. This scenario encapsulates the intersection of confusion and obligation, two psychological traps that can entrap individuals in a cycle of emotional turmoil and self-doubt. Understanding the distinctions between these concepts is crucial, as they can often overlap in ways that blur the lines between support and manipulation. Confusion arises when external influences lead you to question your own thoughts, feelings, or perceptions. In contrast, obligation stems from a sense of duty or responsibility to meet the expectations of others, often at the expense of your own needs. While they may seem similar, confusion can leave you feeling lost and uncertain, whereas obligation crafts an emotionally manipulative narrative that pressures you into compliance. One prevalent example of confusion is in psychological abuse, where an individual is made to feel that their perceptions are wrong or invalid. An abuser might say, "You're just imagining things. You always overreact, leading the victim to doubt their reality, creating a distorted sense of clarity. In contrast, obligation can surface in interpersonal relationships, particularly when one party continuously invokes feelings of indebtedness. Picture a parent who reminds their child, "After all I've done for you, the least you can do is spend time with me," using a calculated appeal to guilt. This creates a sense of obligation, compelling the child to prioritize their parents' desires over their own, even if they are exhausted or preoccupied. The emotional weight of such statements can be overwhelming, leaving one feeling trapped between what they want and what they feel they must do. These psychological traps manifest not only in personal interactions but also within workplaces. For example, consider an employee who is constantly expected to take on additional tasks because their manager implies that failure to do so would reflect poorly on their dedication. The employee is then left feeling obligated to conform, navigating through confusion as they wrestle with a sense of loyalty against their workload. Such dynamics can create environments where personal boundaries are disregarded, leading to burnout and a profound sense of frustration. Recognizing the signs of confusion and obligation can empower you to reclaim control in these situations. Begin by self-reflecting on your feelings during interactions where you sense pressure or guilt. Ask yourself whether your emotions stem from genuine desire to help, or if they are influenced by confusion or an exaggerated sense of obligation. Journal about these experiences, which can help clarify your thoughts and reinforce your understanding of what you truly want versus what others expect from you. Moreover, establishing clear personal boundaries is essential in combating these psychological traps. Communicate openly with those around you, expressing your limits while being mindful of how their requests impact your mental well-being. For instance, if a friend continually pressures you to attend social gatherings, gently but firmly assert your need for personal time. If you find this exploration of confusion and obligation resonates with your experiences, I encourage you to subscribe to my channel, Cloaked Psyche. Here, we delve deeper into understanding the emotional dynamics that shape our lives, equipping you with practical tools to navigate interpersonal relationships with clarity and confidence. By developing your awareness of these psychological traps, you gain the ability to foster healthier interactions that honor both yourself and others. This journey toward emotional intelligence can lead you to reclaim personal agency, empowering you to live authentically in accordance with your values and needs. As we continue our exploration into the psychological traps of confusion and obligation, it becomes essential to focus on the inherent nuances that differentiate these two concepts. While confusion is often characterized by a sense of uncertainty or disorientation, obligation digs into the emotional responsibility one feels toward others. Confusion might make you question your reality or your decisions, often prompting frustration and anxiety, while obligation creates a compelling pressure to act in a way that aligns with the expectations of those around you. For instance, consider a situation where a friend repeatedly questions your willingness to help them. You might feel baffled by their insistence, creating confusion about your genuine feelings of friendship versus your desire to set personal limits. Alternatively, if your friend expresses disappointment for not attending an event, the weight of that obligation can create a guilt-laden atmosphere that compels you to alter your plans to accommodate their feelings. The key differences between confusion and obligation become clearer when examining how each manifests in real-life scenarios. Confusion often arises from unclear communication, making you feel uncertain about how to react or what decision to make. It may lead to a cycle of overthinking where you become paralyzed by the fear of making the wrong choice. Obligation, however, centers around emotional influence, whereby one's feelings create a narrative that compels you to prioritize their needs. Imagine being caught in a conversation where a colleague says, "I really need your input on this project. Everyone else is counting on you." In that example, the request blends emotional appeal with the implication of group expectation, potentially leading to confusion about your own priorities mixed with a sense of obligation to contribute. To illustrate the distinction further, think of confusion as a dense fog clouding your path. You know you need to move forward, but the lack of clarity obstructs your vision, making each step uncertain. On the other hand, obligation feels akin to carrying a heavy backpack filled with expectations. While you're still able to walk, the weight pulls you in directions you may not want to go, making it challenging to focus on your own destination. To protect yourself from the psychological pressures of confusion and obligation, it is vital to develop a strategy for self-awareness and assertiveness. Start by actively monitoring your feelings in situations where you feel obligated or confused. When faced with pressure from others, take a moment to assess whether the emotions you experience are rooted in their expectations or in your genuine desires. Ask yourself probing questions. Do you truly want to help, or do you feel you have to? Journaling these reflections can provide clarity, enabling you to recognize patterns and clarify your own needs. Additionally, practice defining and communicating your personal boundaries. When you sense the onset of obligation creeping in, respond firmly yet kindly. For instance, telling a friend, "I understand you need support, but I cannot commit this time," helps reinforce your autonomy while affirming their feelings. Being clear about your intentions can also dismantle confusion, ensuring that others understand where you stand. If this discussion resonates with your experiences, I encourage you to subscribe to my channel, Cloaked Psyche, where we continue to dissect the emotional dynamics that shape our relationships. By cultivating a deeper understanding of confusion and obligation, you empower yourself to navigate intricate social landscapes with confidence and maintain your emotional well-being. Embracing this knowledge allows you to reclaim your time and energy, fostering healthier interactions that honor both your needs and those of others. This journey toward emotional clarity can ignite personal growth and improve your capacity for genuine connection in your daily life. Chapter 6: Signs You're Being Gaslighted or Guilt-Tripped. Imagine you're having a conversation with someone close to you, attempting to express your feelings about a recent event. You recount how their words made you feel dismissed, only to be met with a response like, "You're just being dramatic, that never happened." In that moment, not only do you feel invalidated, but you also start questioning your own memory and emotions. This unsettling experience is a hallmark sign of gaslighting, a psychological manipulation tactic that distorts reality, leading individuals to doubt their perceptions and feelings. Conversely, you might find yourself in a situation where a friend frequently ends conversations with, "I guess I can't count on you when I really need help," triggering feelings of guilt that compel you into compliance. These two tactics, while distinct, often overlap in ways that create confusion and emotional turmoil in our relationships. Gaslighting is defined as a manipulative strategy that causes individuals to doubt their sanity or reality through persistent denial, deception, or misdirection. This type of manipulation can manifest in several ways, such as denying conversations that took place, undermining one's emotions, or insisting that the victim is overreacting. Consider a romantic partner who dismisses your concerns about their behavior with statements like, "You're imagining things. You always see the worst in me." This continuous invalidation can lead you to believe that your emotional responses are not trustworthy, leaving you feeling isolated and confused. In workplace settings, gaslighting can create a toxic environment. For instance, a supervisor might consistently give ambiguous or contradictory feedback, followed by comments such as, "You really need to learn to do better. It's not that complicated." This approach not only diminishes an employee's confidence, but also fosters a culture of fear where individuals may hesitate to voice their concerns or opinions. In social situations, gaslighting can be just as potent. Imagine a friend who frequently reminds you of past mistakes, claiming it's just for humor, when in reality their intention is to sow insecurity and self-doubt. On the other hand, guilt-tripping places its emphasis squarely on creating a sense of emotional debt. This tactic often relies on relationships built on deeper emotional connections, whereby the guilty party subtly invokes regret or obligation to manipulate behavior. For example, a peer may say, "I really thought you'd have my back. It hurts to see you prioritizing your plans over our friendship," which can lead to feelings of guilt and compel you to re-examine your priorities. In essence, Guilt tripping takes advantage of emotional ties, using them to make individuals feel responsible for the feelings of others, thus generating an imbalance in the relationship. As you reflect on these dynamics, it is essential to identify the signs of gaslighting and guilt tripping in your own life. Look for moments in your relationships when you frequently feel invalidated, confused, or burdened by a sense of emotional obligation. Journal about specific experiences, detailing how these situations made you feel, as this will facilitate a clearer understanding of patterns that may emerge. If this exploration resonates with you, consider subscribing to my channel, Cloaked Psyche, where we further untangle the complexities of psychological manipulation and equip you with tools for recognizing and overcoming these tactics. Understanding the subtleties of gaslighting and guilt tripping empowers you to establish healthier boundaries, fostering relationships that honor both your emotions and the emotions of others. By gaining insight into these methods of manipulation, you are better equipped to protect your mental well-being, navigating life with clarity and confidence as you nurture more authentic connections. Building on our exploration of gaslighting and guilt tripping, it is important to delve deeper into the signs you may encounter in your life that indicate you are being subjected to these manipulative tactics. Understanding what these signs look like can help you recognize when a relationship or interaction is unhealthy, sparing you emotional distress. One defining hallmark of gaslighting is the continuous questioning of your own memory or perception. You might find yourself in conversations where your recollections are challenged, such as when a friend insists, "You're remembering that wrong. It didn't happen like that at all." This persistent invalidation can leave you questioning not just the event, but your entire grasp on reality. Contrastingly, guilt tripping commonly manifests through implied emotional obligations. For example, a friend might express their disappointment, saying, "I really thought you cared about helping me out this time," which can evoke feelings of guilt in you. This tactic works by creating an emotional debt, making it feel as though your priorities must bend toward their expectations, often at the cost of your own well-being. Recognizing the difference is crucial. Gaslighting undermines one's sense of reality, while guilt tripping creates pressure to conform to emotional expectations. To further distinguish these manipulative tactics, consider the subtle nuances involved. Gaslighting operates to erode your confidence in your perception. Picture yourself navigating a path through a dense fog, where the route ahead is obscured and you struggle to see where you are going. In contrast, guilt tripping feels more immediate and personal, akin to standing at a crossroads where the fear of disappointing someone weighs heavily on your shoulders. This emotional pressure can lead to an overwhelming sense of obligation that clouds your judgment. Addressing common misconceptions is vital, particularly the belief that those who use guilt tripping are less harmful than gaslighters. Both tactics can have profound effects, yet their impacts manifest differently. Gaslighting can lead to self-doubt and loss of self-identity, while guilt tripping can foster resentment and a lingering sense of obligation that may complicate personal boundaries. Recognizing these signs is the first step toward self-protection. Start by cultivating self-awareness and mindfulness in your interactions. Pay close attention to your feelings during conversations. After an exchange, evaluate whether you feel validated or confused, empowered, or obligated. This practice helps you identify when someone else's emotions are unduly influencing your decisions. Regular journaling can also facilitate this understanding. By documenting your feelings and interactions over time, you can begin to see patterns of manipulation that might otherwise go unnoticed. Assertiveness is another key strategy in countering these tactics. When you feel pressured, practice communicating your boundaries firmly yet kindly. You might say, "I understand this is important to you, but I can't commit to that right now." Establishing and maintaining your boundaries is crucial, as it allows you to preserve your emotional health and resist feeling responsible for others' reactions. If you find your experiences resonate with this discussion, I encourage you to subscribe to my channel, Cloaked Psyche, where we delve deeper into these psychological concepts and equip you with tools for resisting manipulation. Navigating these emotional dynamics requires patience and awareness, But by honing your ability to recognize gaslighting and guilt tripping, you empower yourself to cultivate healthier relationships that respect both your well-being and the well-being of others. Embrace this journey, as it serves as an invaluable opportunity for personal growth and emotional resilience, allowing you to engage with the world around you confidently and authentically. Chapter 7. Emotional Impact. Damage to self-worth. Have you ever noticed how certain interactions can leave you feeling drained, as if your very essence has been chipped away? Imagine a scenario where you receive criticism for a project you worked hard on. Instead of constructive feedback, a colleague says, "This is the worst work I've ever seen. I can't believe you thought this was acceptable." You might feel a rush of emotions, including embarrassment, shame, and self-doubt. Each word feels like a blow to your self-worth. This devastating experience illustrates how damaging emotional manipulation can be and highlights the profound impact it can have on an individual's self-esteem. Often, people mistake disappointment or mild criticism for emotional manipulation, not recognizing the long-term toll it can take on their mental health. At its core, the emotional impact of manipulation is insidious, inscribing feelings of inadequacy and worthlessness deep within. It often begins subtly and escalates over time, particularly in relationships where trust and vulnerability are present. For instance, a partner who frequently belittles your ambitions might say something like, "You'll never be successful. You don't have what it takes." These comments, while possibly unintended, can undermine your confidence and create a pervasive sense of self-doubt. Over time, the continual arrows of negativity can dull your motivation, leading you to question every decision you make and doubting your abilities even in areas where you once thrived. In workplace dynamics, the impact of emotional manipulation can manifest as an overwhelming sense of inferiority. Consider an employee who consistently receives backhanded compliments. "It's impressive how you managed to complete that project. I didn't think you had it in you." While it may outwardly seem like a praise, at its core, it conveys doubt about the employee's capabilities, contributing to a toxic work environment. As employees grapple with their self-image amidst these manipulative tactics, many experience decreased job satisfaction, anxiety, and burnout, which can ultimately affect productivity and overall career development. Operationally, the emotional impact of manipulation also shapes social interactions. Imagine a situation where a friend habitually critiques your social choices, saying things like, "Why would you hang out with those people? You know you're better than that." Such statements, while perhaps intended to protect or guide, can provoke a self-consciousness that keeps you from fully enjoying time spent with friends. Over time, these repeated instances of criticism can create a fearful mindset, leading one to avoid social situations altogether or conform to others' expectations to avoid judgments. This erosion of self-worth is often cumulative and can lead individuals to internalize negative messages about themselves, believing they are unworthy of love, respect, or success. Even simple shifts in language or tone, when wielded over time as a strategy of control, can turn supportive relationships into sources of emotional pain. Recognizing these patterns is the first step toward healing. If you find yourself resonating with this emotional landscape, it's vital to explore these feelings and understand their origins. Journaling about your experiences can create a safe space for reflection. Write about instances where you felt manipulated or belittled, examining how those interactions affected your self-perception and emotions. This practice can empower you to reclaim your narrative and foster healing. For those interested in further understanding the complexities of emotional impact, I encourage you to subscribe to my channel, Cloaked Psyche. Together, we can unpack these psychological concepts, providing you with not only the insights needed to recognize manipulation, but also the tools to bolster your self-worth and resilience. By fostering an awareness of the emotional toll manipulation can take, you pave the way for healthier relationships and a more profound sense of self-acceptance as you navigate your journey through life. Embrace this exploration as an opportunity to redefine your worth and nurture a more positive, empowering self-image. Building on our exploration of the emotional impact of manipulation, it is crucial to delve into the long-term effects on self-esteem and how such tactics can lead to profound psychological consequences. The emotional toll of gaslighting and guilt tripping can create an ongoing narrative of inadequacy, influencing how individuals perceive themselves and interact with the world around them. One particularly stark manifestation of this is the internalization of negative beliefs. For instance, if you have been subjected to constant belittlement from a partner or colleague, you might begin to believe that your contributions are inherently unworthy. This belief can evolve into a pervasive self-doubt, leading you to shy away from opportunities or avoid expressing your thoughts in group settings, further feeding the cycle of insecurity. In examining how emotional manipulation manifests, it is essential to distinguish the sensations of feeling unworthy versus feeling guilty. While both emotions can interfere with your decision-making and self-image, they originate from different sources. Feeling unworthy often stems from repeated invalidation, creating a narrative where you question your abilities and value. A poignant example could be a colleague who routinely undermines your suggestions in meetings. Each dismissal chips away at your confidence, leading you to eventually mistrust your instincts and feel disengaged from your role. On the other hand, feeling guilty may arise from obligation or the pressure of expectations set by others. When a friend expresses disappointment because you didn't invest your time in supporting them, you might feel guilty without understanding that your needs are equally important. To clarify these concepts further, consider the analogy of a garden. A nurturing environment fosters growth, yet when exposed to the weeds of manipulation, whether through gaslighting or guilt tripping, your self-worth can become choked and stunted. In a well-tended garden, flowers flourish, reflecting the care given to their environment. Conversely, a garden overrun by weeds struggles to thrive, symbolizing how emotional manipulation can overtake your sense of self. Understanding this distinction can be pivotal in recognizing when to tend to your emotional landscape diligently. To reclaim your self-worth and fortify yourself against emotional manipulation, it's essential to cultivate self-awareness and develop strategies for self-protection. Reflect on your recent experiences in relationships and workplace interactions. Ask yourself questions like, do I often feel diminished or guilty in these situations? Take note of patterns and triggers that leave you feeling drained or questioning your value. Journaling these experiences can be a valuable practice, providing clarity on how to navigate future encounters. Writing down how you feel when certain comments are made can also help you articulate your emotions and understanding better. Another actionable strategy involves setting firm boundaries. If you find that someone continuously undermines your contributions, express your feelings clearly, saying something like, "I feel hurt when my ideas are dismissed. I'd appreciate more constructive feedback." This proactive communication not only addresses the behavior, but also empowers you to reclaim your narrative. If you resonate with these concepts, I invite you to subscribe to my channel, Cloaked Psyche, where we further explore the intricacies of emotional manipulation and the paths to healthy self-worth. As you engage with this journey of understanding, remember that you have the ability to nurture your own emotional garden. By recognizing the signs of gaslighting and guilt tripping, you can protect your sense of self and cultivate relationships rooted in mutual respect and support. Embracing this awareness will not only help you flourish, but also empower others to do the same, creating a ripple effect that enhances the emotional climate of all your connections. You deserve to thrive, and with each step taken toward understanding and self-empowerment, you move closer to a more fulfilling, authentic existence. Chapter 8. Breaking Free. Regain your mental clarity. Have you ever felt trapped in a mental fog where anxiety and self-doubt cloud your judgment? Picture this. You're at a gathering, engaging in conversation, yet you can't shake off the feeling that you're constantly being judged or that you don't belong. This overwhelming sensation often arises from psychological manipulation, and it can leave you feeling powerless and uncertain about your own perceptions. Many people find themselves ensnared in these mental traps, mistaking confusion and obligation for normalcy in their interactions. Reclaiming your mental clarity is a vital step towards breaking free from this cycle and regaining control over your emotions and decisions. Breaking free from the manipulative dynamics of gaslighting and guilt tripping requires a foundational understanding of your mental landscape. At its core, the process of regaining clarity begins with recognizing the emotional and cognitive distortions that have infiltrated your thinking. For instance, if you've been gaslighted, you may find yourself second-guessing your thoughts and feelings, leading to a sense of dissociation from your own reality. You might think, "Am I just being too sensitive?" Or, "Maybe I really did misinterpret that." This self-doubt can create a chasm between your authentic self and the constructed reality imposed by others. In this process of disentangling from manipulation, one practical step is to familiarize yourself with the concept of self-validation. This involves affirming your thoughts and emotions without needing external approval or validation. Imagine telling yourself, "My feelings are valid, and it's okay to feel this way." Such affirmations can build a solid foundation for your self-worth, gradually eroding the doubts that manipulation has implanted in your psyche. Consider a real-world scenario where a person has been subject to guilt tripping from a close friend. This friend might frequently remind them, "You never make time for me, it feels like you don't care." Over time, the person may feel trapped in a cycle of guilt, believing they need to alter their priorities to meet the expectations placed upon them. To break free from this emotional manipulation, it's crucial to set boundaries. This could mean having a heartfelt conversation where you express your feelings about the situation and assert your right to maintain personal time. A response like, "I care about our friendship, but I also need space to recharge," helps to establish your needs and reinforces your autonomy. Additionally, practice self-reflection as a means of gaining clarity. Journaling serves as an effective tool for this. Write down your thoughts and feelings about specific interactions that leave you feeling unsure or manipulated. This exercise serves not only as a form of catharsis, but also aids in recognizing patterns of behavior and gauging your emotional responses. Over time, reviewing your journal can unveil insights that empower you to confront manipulative dynamics head-on. Equally important is surrounding yourself with supportive individuals who respect your boundaries and validate your feelings. Engage with people who inspire positivity and understanding, as their encouragement can help counteract the effects of manipulation you may have experienced. Building a supportive network can alleviate the burden of self-doubt and provide a safe space for personal growth. If the concepts explored in this chapter resonate with your journey, I encourage you to subscribe to my channel, Cloaked Psyche, where we dive deeper into these psychological dynamics and explore effective strategies for regaining clarity. Recognizing the intricacies of manipulation is a powerful first step toward liberation. By taking proactive measures to protect your mental well-being, you can reclaim your authenticity and foster a richer, more fulfilling experience in all aspects of your life. The journey towards mental clarity may be challenging, but with each step, you empower yourself to break free from the confines of manipulation and embrace a life filled with purpose and self-acceptance. As we continue our exploration of regaining mental clarity, it's essential to address emotional resilience and the nuances between various forms of emotional manipulation. In particular, understanding how emotional exhaustion differs from a healthy emotional investment can illuminate the effects of psychological strategies like gaslighting and guilt tripping. Emotional exhaustion often results from being embroiled in unhealthy dynamics where your needs are consistently deprioritized. For instance, consider an individual in a relationship where they feel constantly drained after interactions with their partner, who is a chronic complainer. The partner frequently voices dissatisfaction, leading the individual to feel responsible for fixing their emotional state. Each conversation ends with a realization of emotional depletion, rather than shared joy and support. In contrast, a healthy emotional investment entails mutual support and positive reinforcement. This distinction is crucial for recognizing when emotional demands cross the line from supportive to exhausting. For example, in a thriving relationship, both partners feel uplifted after discussing their challenges, offering each other a space to vent, while also experiencing encouragement and understanding. The essence of healthy interactions lies in reciprocity. where both parties feel valued and cared for. This understanding leads us to explore the key differences between emotional exhaustion and emotional investment. Emotional exhaustion tends to manifest as a sense of overwhelm and a desire to withdraw from social interactions. Individuals may find themselves feeling irritable, fatigued, or resentful, ultimately questioning their worth as they constantly try to meet the emotional demands of others. In contrast, emotional investment fosters growth and happiness. You can engage in heartfelt discussions and still leave feeling energized and appreciated. An apt analogy for this distinction can be found in the arena of fitness. Imagine emotional exhaustion as pushing your body far beyond its limits without the opportunity to rest or recover. You may initially feel accomplished, but the cumulative fatigue will lead to burnout and a desire to avoid further physical activity. On the other hand, healthy emotional investment resembles a well-balanced workout routine, where you alternate between challenging exercises and recovery after each session. This balance enables sustained motivation without succumbing to burnout, fostering resilience over time. To protect your emotional well-being, implementing strategies to recognize and combat these forms of manipulation is vital. Self-reflection is a powerful tool in this regard. Regularly assess your emotional state in your interactions. Ask yourself questions like, do I feel spent after this conversation? Or, am I consistently putting others' needs before my own? Such inquiries can illuminate patterns of emotional exhaustion that warrant attention. Take to journal about specific experiences, detailing how they made you feel. This practice can encourage self-awareness and help you internalize your emotional responses. Establishing boundaries is another critical component of reclaiming your mental clarity. When you sense that an interaction leans towards emotional exhaustion, prioritize your needs by articulating them clearly and calmly. You might say, I need time to recharge after our conversations, so let's find a better balance moving forward. This sets the tone for your interactions and creates a foundation for healthier communication. If you find that the concepts we've explored resonate with your experiences, I encourage you to subscribe to my channel, Cloaked Psyche. Together, we can delve deeper into these psychological dynamics, equipping you with tools to build resilience against emotional manipulation. By fostering an understanding of your emotional landscape, you empower yourself to navigate relationships with clarity and confidence, allowing you to cultivate connections that are uplifting rather than draining. Ultimately, reclaiming your mental clarity is a journey of self-discovery, emotional growth, and the establishment of healthy boundaries that honor your true self. Chapter 9. Setting Boundaries, Shielding Yourself from Manipulation. Have you ever experienced that uncomfortable moment when you realize a conversation has taken a turn, leaving you feeling uneasy and pressured? Picture this. You're at a family gathering, and your relatives start asking intrusive questions about your personal life. At first, you try to laugh it off, but as the questions persist, you begin to feel suffocated under the weight of their expectations. It's in moments like these that the importance of setting boundaries becomes glaringly apparent. Many people often conflate boundaries with rejection, fearing that protecting their space may upset those around them. However, understanding the significance of boundaries is crucial for safeguarding your emotional health and preventing manipulation. Setting boundaries involves clearly defining what is acceptable and what isn't in your interactions with others. It's the practice of protecting your emotional and psychological space, allowing you to feel safe while fostering healthier relationships. The lack of boundaries can lead to toxic dynamics, where one person's needs overshadow another's. For example, you might have a friend who routinely expects you to prioritize their problems, often disregarding your own struggles. When your emotional needs are neglected, it can create a sense of imbalance and, ultimately, resentment, making it imperative to establish clear personal boundaries. In relationships, boundaries can manifest in various ways, ranging from how much time you're willing to spend together to the topics that you are comfortable discussing. For instance, if you have a friend who continuously presses you for personal details that make you uncomfortable, saying something like, I value our friendship, but I'm not comfortable discussing my finances, sets a firm boundary that protects your personal space. This kind of clear communication serves to inform others about your limits, reducing the likelihood of emotional manipulation. In the workplace, boundaries are equally essential, especially to safeguard your mental well-being and prevent burnout. Coworkers might expect you to take on extra work without regard for your existing responsibilities. By asserting boundaries, you might say, "I have my own deadlines to meet, and I can't take on additional tasks at this time." This statement reinforces your commitment to your responsibilities and communicates the necessity of respecting your workload. Understanding the key differences between healthy boundaries and emotional walls is important as well. Healthy boundaries allow for open communication and connection while maintaining personal integrity. In contrast, emotional walls may be built as a reaction to feeling overwhelmed or hurt, often leading to isolation. Picture emotional walls as barricades that shut others out completely, preventing you from forming meaningful connections. In contrast, healthy boundaries resemble a firmly secured door that can be opened or closed as needed, allowing you to engage with others while protecting your space. When it comes to establishing boundaries, self-reflection is a powerful tool. Take time to evaluate your feelings in specific relationships and interactions. Ask yourself, what am I comfortable with, and what makes me feel uneasy? Maintaining a journal where you document these feelings can provide clarity and reinforce your understanding of your boundaries. If you resonate with these ideas, consider subscribing to my channel, Cloaked Psyche, where we explore the importance of establishing boundaries and offer practical guidance for navigating complex emotional dynamics. Recognizing the value of boundaries is a crucial step toward fostering healthier relationships and protecting your emotional and psychological well-being. Through consistent effort in asserting your boundaries, you can create an environment where your needs are honored, empowering you to engage confidently with the world around you. Embrace this journey toward clarity and self-respect as it paves the way for a richer, more fulfilling life, free from the burdens of manipulation. As we delve deeper into the intricacies of setting boundaries, it's essential to differentiate between healthy boundaries and emotional walls. While both concepts aim to protect your emotional well-being, they serve fundamentally different purposes. Healthy boundaries are meant to promote mutual respect and understanding in relationships, while emotional walls are often built as a defense mechanism in response to pain or betrayal. When you create healthy boundaries, you make it clear what you are comfortable with and what you are not, fostering a space where open communication can thrive. For instance, if a colleague consistently interrupts you during meetings, you might assert, "I would appreciate it if we could all take turns speaking," establishing a respectful environment for discussion. Conversely, emotional walls are like fortresses erected out of fear, minimizing vulnerability but often leading to isolation. Imagine someone who has been hurt in past relationships and is now unwilling to let anyone in. They might say, "I don't need anyone. I'm fine on my own." While this may seem empowering on the surface, it actually simplifies their connections with others. Emotional walls block people out, preventing growth and genuine connections. Healthy boundaries, however, maintain a level of openness that allows relationships to flourish while protecting your personal space. Key differences between healthy boundaries and emotional walls can greatly affect how you approach relationships. Healthy boundaries are flexible and can be adjusted based on context and mutual understanding. For example, you might allow more personal sharing with a close friend while keeping professional conversations more reserved. Emotional walls, on the other hand, are often rigid and inflexible. Once they're up, they can be difficult to dismantle. This rigidity can lead to misunderstandings and miscommunications with those who genuinely wish to connect. A noteworthy analogy for this distinction can be likened to a house. Healthy boundaries are like well-maintained doors and windows that can be opened to foster interaction while still offering shelter. You can choose when to invite others in and when to retreat, ensuring that your comfort and safety are prioritized. In contrast, emotional walls are akin to barricading yourself inside a fortified castle, where the fear of intrusion keeps others at bay, but it also isolates you from engaging with the world around you. To protect yourself from manipulation and foster healthier relationships, practical strategies for setting boundaries are paramount. Begin by reflecting on your interactions, noting where you frequently feel uncomfortable or overwhelmed. Consider journaling about these experiences, capturing your feelings and the situations that trigger discomfort. This practice can promote self-awareness and give you clarity on the boundaries you need to establish. Moreover, practice explicit communication regarding your boundaries. If someone crosses a line, calmly express your feelings by saying, "I feel uncomfortable when you ask personal questions in public. I prefer to discuss these matters in private." Assertive communication not only reinforces your boundaries, but also sets the expectation for how you want to be treated moving forward. Finally, remember that establishing boundaries is not about shutting people out. Rather, it is about creating a space that honors your needs and well-being. If you find that your experiences resonate with the concepts discussed in this chapter, I encourage you to subscribe to my channel, Cloaked Psyche. Together, we will explore further the significance of healthy boundaries and emotional well-being, equipping you with the tools to navigate your relationships with confidence and clarity. By embracing the practice of boundary setting, you empower yourself to foster connections that are not only respectful, but also enriching, allowing you to thrive in your personal and professional life. Taking this journey towards understanding and affirming your worth is a crucial step in reclaiming the emotional agency that is rightfully yours. Chapter 10. Reclaiming Power. Trust your own perception. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you questioned your own judgment due to someone else's influence? Imagine being in a discussion with a close friend about a shared experience, only for them to dismiss your version of events completely, saying, "You must be misremembering. That's not how it happened." In that moment, you might feel a wave of self-doubt wash over you, leading you to question your own memory. This scenario highlights the underlying issue of trust in one's own perception, something that can easily become entangled in the web of manipulation. Many individuals conflate external validation with truth, often faltering when their reality is challenged, unaware of the power they possess to assert their perspective. Reclaiming power in your life starts with understanding the fundamental nature of your perceptions. Your interpretation of events and feelings is inherently valid, regardless of whether it aligns with someone else's viewpoint. When we consider emotional manipulation techniques like gaslighting, we recognize how this form of psychological control works to distort an individual's grasp on reality. It often leads people to question their sanity or value. A clear example exists in relationships where one partner may chronically downplay the other's feelings, asserting, "You're just being overly sensitive. It's not a big deal." Over time, these interactions can erode your self-esteem and lead to a pervasive sense of confusion about your judgments. In the workplace, reclaiming your perception can be just as critical. Consider an employee who receives vague feedback on their performance, but is led to believe that their contributions are inadequate. If a manager states, "I'm concerned about your progress," without providing specific areas for improvement, the employee may start to doubt their capabilities. This script can repeat itself until the individual no longer trusts their ability to perform, creating a cycle of fear and anxiety. Reclaiming power means recognizing that feedback should be constructive and actionable rather than vague and anxiety-inducing. To effectively reclaim your perspective, you must cultivate self-awareness and confidence in your judgments. Begin by affirming that your perceptions are your truth. Consider incorporating daily affirmations into your routine, such as, "I trust my instincts, my feelings are valid." This practice can combat doubts created by manipulative interactions and reinforce the importance of self-trust. Additionally, when faced with challenging conversations where your perspective is dismissed, don't hesitate to assert yourself. You might respond with, "I see this differently, and my interpretations are based on my experiences, which I value." This kind of assertion not only reinforces your perspective, but also encourages others to reflect on their approach. Reflective journaling is another effective tool for reclaiming your power. Set aside time each day to write about your experiences, particularly those that leave you feeling doubted or confused. Documenting your thoughts can provide clarity and reinforce your understanding of your feelings and perceptions. When you look back at your entries, you can often recognize patterns in your experiences, deepening your awareness of how manipulation has affected your confidence. As you embark on the journey of cognitive reclamation, I invite you to subscribe to my channel, Cloaked Psyche, where we explore further strategies to strengthen your self-trust and reclaim your power over personal narratives. Understanding the intricacies of emotional manipulation equips you with the tools to confront it effectively, fostering a profound sense of agency in your relationships. Trusting your perception is not merely a personal assertion, it is an essential act of self-care and protection against the forces that seek to undermine your reality. Embracing this journey allows you to forge authentic connections built on mutual respect, ensuring that you honor your instincts and grow into the empowered individual you are meant to be. Your narrative and truth are worthy of celebration, and reclaiming them paves the way for a life of clarity, confidence, and genuine connection. Continuing our discussion on reclaiming power and trusting your own perceptions, it is vital to explore the concept of self-advocacy. This essential aspect of emotional empowerment complements the act of trusting your perceptions and involves actively defending your needs and beliefs in the face of external pressure or emotional manipulation. Self-advocacy differs from merely asserting your opinion. It requires you to understand your worth and the value of your feelings deeply. For instance, if you consistently find yourself in meetings where your ideas are brushed aside, self-advocacy means not only articulating your thoughts, but also advocating for the respect they deserve. You might say, "I'd like to elaborate on my idea because I believe it can contribute positively to our goals." This confidence in expressing yourself highlights how self-advocacy empowers you to create space for your voice. On the other hand, an absence of self-advocacy can manifest as internalizing the dismissiveness of others. Consider a scenario where a colleague belittles your expertise in a group setting. Without self-advocacy, you may silently accept their view, muttering to yourself that perhaps they are right and you aren't as knowledgeable as you thought. This erosion of self-confidence can accumulate over time, leading to greater self-doubt and a diminished sense of agency. The critical distinction here lies in the choice to assert your worth and the impact that mindset has on your overall well-being. The key differences between self-advocacy and passive acceptance are profound. Self-advocacy involves an active stance, recognizing your value, understanding your emotions, and communicating them effectively. It is built on the foundation of self-awareness and self-respect. In contrast, passive acceptance fosters a mindset of compliance and submission, often leading to feelings of powerlessness. Imagine a balloon filled with air. Self-advocacy is akin to releasing that air slowly, ensuring your voice is heard and validated. Conversely, passive acceptance resembles a balloon that remains tightly knotted, unable to express any of the pressure building within. To reinforce this concept further, think of self-advocacy as standing at a crossroad where two paths diverge. One path leads to empowerment, where every time you advocate for yourself, you forge a little further ahead toward clarity and purpose. The other path leads to stagnation, a cycle of yielding to external pressures that leave you feeling confused and unworthy. Choosing to step onto the path of self-advocacy involves courage and commitment to your own emotions. To practice self-advocacy and bolster your ability to trust your perceptions, consider implementing a few actionable strategies in your daily life. Begin by identifying situations where you feel overlooked or invalidated. Reflect on these encounters and write down how they made you feel. This activity will help you build a clearer understanding of your emotional landscape. Once you recognize these patterns, devise assertive responses that you can use in similar future situations. Prepare phrases like, "I appreciate your perspective, but I believe my experience also deserves consideration." Additionally, visualize your success in self-advocacy. Picture yourself in scenarios where you express your thoughts with confidence and clarity. This mental rehearsal can build familiarity and decrease anxiety when facing real-life situations, empowering you to act assertively. If this exploration of self-advocacy resonates with you, I encourage you to subscribe to my channel, Cloaked Psyche. Together, we will continue to develop these essential skills and delve deeper into understanding emotional dynamics in our interactions. Embracing self-advocacy is a transformative journey that allows you to reclaim your voice and empower yourself. By doing so, you take control of your narrative and cultivate relationships built on mutual respect and understanding. Trusting your perceptions and advocating for yourself is not only an act of self-love, but a pathway toward a more authentic and fulfilling life. In conclusion, the journey through understanding psychological manipulation and the importance of setting healthy boundaries is both empowering and transformative. By recognizing tactics such as gaslighting and guilt tripping, you can reclaim your self-worth and confidently assert your perceptions in every aspect of your life. Remember, nurturing your emotional landscape and advocating for your personal needs are essential steps toward building authentic and fulfilling relationships. Your feelings and experiences matter, and it's time to take charge of your narrative. Thank you for watching and engaging with this content. I encourage you to take immediate action by implementing the strategies we've discussed. Embrace the path of self-discovery and empowerment, as it will lead to a more enriching life. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel for more insights and support on your journey. Together, let's continue to inspire and uplift one another.